everybody, yes, we are back. We're going to make some soap today out of the milk that we froze a couple of days ago. And yes, it has been a couple of days. But first thing we got to do is we got to measure out the coconut oil and get it started melting. And this is one of our new soaps that we are going to be offering. It is going to be an activated charcoal and honey soap. So let's get this measured out for both of these batches, because we are actually making two separate batches to do our molds. We have dividers that are going to go into our molds, and I will be showing you those as we go. But this is where we're at right now, so let's get started with this, and we'll go from there. Okay, first thing we need in this one is 24.3 ounces of coconut oil. So here's our first one. I like this coconut oil. It has a wonderful smell. It refines down quite nicely. So we're going to get it scraped out because we're almost out of this one. We have another full one here in just a moment. And yes, I do buy it in large batches like this, just because of the fact that it does tend to be a little cheaper and makes it a little easier to buy it like this. I'm going to get this all measured out. Because once this is measured out, then we're going to have to put on gloves for everything else. Which I probably should grab a set of gloves real quick. So, let me see if I can find out where I put my gloves. Alright. So, now we're back with gloves. I'm going to get these put on, just because it'll make it a little easier and it's less likely that my hands are going to get nasty as I go. Okay, now we're going to move over to the other one, which is completely full, and we're going to start dipping out. Now once we get the 24.3 in this one, we'll set it over on the burner, and then we'll get the other one filled up so that way we can get this going. All right, almost got this one. We're just being a little more careful now because now we're getting close to we're at 23.8 now, 24.4, 24.3. Okay, so this one can move over here onto the burner. Then we'll bring this one over. And we're going to zero it out. And we will start adding the coconut oil. And I honestly cannot stress to you people how wonderful this smells. This will give both of our batches the oil that we need. And we're actually almost there. So now we're going to have to start doing the smaller chunks. We're at 24.5. That's 24.5, so we need to take just a little bit out. All right, 24.3. So, now that that's done, we're going to close up our coconut oil again, so that way it's out of the way. And we will start this on a low setting, so that way it can slowly melt and get itself going. Now, I'm going to clean my hands off so that we can get started on the other stuff that we need to do. Cleaning my hands off in a set of gloves may seem a little crazy, but I have coconut oil on my hands, so I want to get that off before we start handling the lye. Lye is extremely caustic, and I would suggest to anyone, if you are working with lye, that the first thing that I would suggest for you is that you keep just a plain Jane bottle of white vinegar around. If you get the lye on your skin, because it is a caustic chemical, it can burn you. The vinegar will actually neutralize the lye so that way, if you get it on there fast enough, you won't get a burn. Or if you do get a burn, it'll be very mild. Now that is something that, you need to take into account when you're working with stuff like this. So now we're going to pull our bowls. We actually have two. I've already added the vitamin E to them. Now we're going to get our soaps. So we're actually going to go right over here to our refrigerator. Oh, my coffee cup's sitting in the way. And we're going to pull out 2 of our 12-ounce packs of soap, or packs of milk, to make our soap. Now this is the part that people might think's just a little crazy. We're actually going to come over here and we're going to bust them. Now most of the time I would have set these out a little earlier for the bigger double batches, but we're doing single batches of 2, so I just decided to go ahead and wait, because the lye will melt it, and as it sits in the bowl while we're measuring out the lye, it will start to melt as well. So we're going to get this all broke up and add it in, and make sure we get it all, so that way we get our actual 12 ounces. There's the first one. And I don't reuse my bags, but for right now I'm just setting them off to the side, so that way they're out of the way. I like using frozen milk because the lye makes it so hot that I don't want to scorch my countertops. Now we'll get the milk over into the second one. Now these already both have vitamin E down into the bowls, because we do put vitamin E in every bar of soap we make. Doesn't matter if it's plain Jane or something more aggressive like the tea tree, but we do make sure to put vitamin E in it, because honestly all the studies show that it is amazing for skin. Now I would consider doing a custom order for someone if they wanted soap without vitamin E for some reason. I have no problem with that, but the custom orders do take 6 to 8 weeks because of the fact that they are custom orders. Oh, again, we will put our Etsy shop in the comments so that way you have it. Oh, there we go. And here is this. Now, we cure our soaps in a cold cure. And what that means is we don't use any kind of heat to cure our soaps. They just sit on a rack and they do a slow cure to make sure that they are the way they need to be. Now, we are going to measure out our lye. I have to go grab it real quick because we keep it separate from the kitchen. So now we're going to come over here, and according to the recipe that we use 5 ounces of lye per recipe. So just in case we needed a second one, and as you can see, I am trying to be very careful with these. Sometimes the lids do not want to come loose. All right, So now I'm going to turn this on, and we're going to measure out 5 ounces. 5 ounces may not seem like a whole lot, but believe it or not, it is quite a bit. All right, now we are at 5.4. We cannot have that. That is too much. I will not allow that because I don't want to take a chance on it taking longer to cure. And that is 5 ounces right there. All right, so that is going to go in here. And you notice I am using metal utensils just for the pure and simple fact that they are safer. We are back at 0. So now we're going to measure out our next 5. And like I thought, we are going to be short from this container. And I know that the bottles say sodium hydroxide. That is the technical name for lye. But I use a granulated lye in mine. If I were to use a liquid, I would be using a 5 ounces as well. And again, we're just a tad bit over. All right, so there's our other 5. With gloves on, I'm a little safer to do this with my hands rather than with that, but there we go. There's that. Those will all get rinsed with vinegar before they are washed. We're going to shut that off, and we're going to pull these forward. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our spatulas. We're going to start mixing this in with our spatulas so that way, and each spatula will be for a different batch. So that way we get no cross-contamination from one to the other. We keep all of our tools clean. They all get rinsed with vinegar and then are washed and dried and kept separate from other things. And we were getting a nice melt on all this. Which will give us a nice smooth soap when we get done. Now, it does take a few minutes for all of this to melt down, and I will tell you, you really do need to make sure you have good ventilation when you're doing this, because it is extremely important. This lye solution gives off a really aggressive smell, so if you're not used to it, it could really irritate your breathing. Now for this one, I'm going to go ahead and add in our charcoal mixed with 3 tablespoons of almond oil, so that way we can go ahead and get this started. This will definitely give us some looks once it's done. But we're going to get all this mixed in. The charcoal is actually melting down much faster than what will be the honey. But we're going to leave it set for just a minute, let it do its thing, and we're going to go ahead and add the honey. Now we use raw honey, and anyone who's ever used raw honey knows that it does tend to crystallize. There's 1, And this is some really good raw honey. We actually purchased this from a local person to use, and they seem to have had some really amazing honey this year, even with the heat that we've experienced. So we're just going to go ahead and get the rest of this in here, because I already know it's 3 tablespoons. I already measured it out. But we're going to go ahead and get it mixed in here. And that will get our honey going. Wipe it off here. And then we're going to get this here. Now this video probably will not get posted for a day or two, just for the pure and simple fact that I would love for you guys to see the finished product on the video. So tomorrow we will actually be cutting this, so I will have that video for you then. Okay, we're going to turn our coconut oil up a little bit. We don't want it to scorch, but we do want it to get melted down rather quickly. And the faster it gets melted down, the faster we finish putting our soaps together. All right, let's give this one a stir. Oh yeah, this is coming together quite nicely. Now we do not have all of our oils blended together yet, which is fine. But I do want to show you something that is really kind of neat and does happen. The soap in this one looks to be almost red or a dark orange. That is the reaction of the milk and the lye from the heat that it produces. Now, it will come back down to a beige color here very shortly. It is not an uncommon thing for this to happen when doing soaps. Anyone who's ever watched a soap video would know this. You can check it out on other people who make soap. This is something that commonly happens. I do have an immersion blender here ready to go for when our coconut oil is ready, which I can probably go ahead and use this one. It's melted down enough I can use it. So we'll shut this one off, and we're going to add this coconut oil to our honey side. Oh, and you've just heard Miss Kaya give a woof. Miss Kaya was my dad's dog, and we inherited her. She is a very sweet black lab and Rottweiler cross. And we do love her, and she'll make some appearances in videos later. All right. Yes, Miss Kaya, I hear you. I'm making noise, aren't I? Yes, I am. All right, so now let's get our immersion blender. All right, so now we have that. And to make sure that we don't get the cross-contamination, we are going to rinse this in the vinegar, which will cut the lye and everything else out of it. It will neutralize the lye on it. And then we'll take a couple of napkins and make sure to clean it properly. And this one, all we're waiting for it to do is to start setting up. Now that the soap remnants have been removed, we will start on the next batch. But we do make sure that we clean everything, but that way it's safe. Yes, Kaya, go lay down, please. Go. Thank you, ma'am. All right, now we're going to have to move this one over to this burner and turn it up just a bit, so that way we can get this other soap going. While we're doing that, let's go ahead and set up our molds. Our molds are going to be set up with a divider in them. And they're just, I could probably buy dividers, but I'm not. I'm just putting in hand-cut cardboard dividers for this, because half of it will be the honey and the other half will be the charcoal with a twist. So, as you can see, we have all of our molds set up, and Stinker has come into the window, which we're going to have to get him out. Come here, fat boy. Yes, I see you. Go on. All right. We should be good to use this one. So, we're going to pull this out, and we're going to add this to this solution. And you notice it's not completely melted, which is actually fine. Some people would argue that. I have never had an issue with it. We'll set those over there because they will have to be washed. And now we're going to take our immersion blender and we'll start here. All right, now we've got this one blended. Whoop, made a mess on the counter. Nothing new there. All right, so this one is actually starting to thicken up just a bit and is ready to start pouring. So, we're going to take this like this, and we're going to start giving it a little pour on this side. Oh, we got some bleed over. So that tells me I need to press my divider down a little better. Set this back over here and press our divider down a little better. All right, there we go. Oh, nope, didn't work because I put too much in too quickly. Okay, well, we can fix that though. That's the nice part about working with it when it's in this state. It's still thin enough, and even I make mistakes. So you know what? It's all right if you're making soaps and you make a mistake. I've made hundreds of bars, and even I still make mistakes. All right, so now we've got it pushed back over. So we'll add a little bit of our charcoal soap over here on this side to help keep the balance between the two. All right. Then we'll add a little more of our honey soap. I'm starting to push push it over a little bit. So we push it back and we bring our charcoal back over. I'm not worried about a little charcoal on the counters in any way, shape, or form. But to keep the balance, we are going to have to play it by ear and go back and forth. There we go. Now, push it back over there again. We get a little bit of bleed through, but honestly, I'm not worried about a little bit of bleed through. All right. So now this one can be set aside to let it start setting. I want it a little thicker than it is right now before we start and you notice I did set up 4 molds, but I'm only going to need the 2. But I always set up extras just in case we have a little bit of extra left over, because I don't like to waste. So, go back and forth with these. And yes, I know I'm getting soaps all over my countertops. That is nothing new for me. We're going to grab the one for this one. And we're going to make sure that we get it all out and down in here. So there's that one. And we're going to come over here with this one. And we're going to scrape this one out. So that way we're ready to pour it. Whoop. Got a little bit on this spatula somehow. Probably because I was using a dual spatula container, which I will have to remember not to do that next time. All right, and we need a little more over here. Whoop, again, making a mess. Nothing new. It does happen. I am not going to stress it. Nobody's perfect as far as being clean. So, now, we'll wipe up some of the stuff. I will clean all of my counters with vinegar, so I will not have to worry about anything inappropriate being on my counters. And we're going to give these a little to get the air out of them. Whoop. Yep, that would have been a big mess. All because I wasn't paying attention. But again, like I said, I'm not worried about a little bit of mess. It can be cleaned. Right now, I'm just worried about getting the air out of these. And now that I know I've got the air out, we're going to take this out. And I will show you the top end of these once I'm done, so that way you can see what the tops look like. Like I said, a mess is a mess. It happens. We have paper towels just to clean this stuff up. Now, we're going to clean this one up real quick because we do have some mess on it where I tried to reach over and pour, which is my own fault. I should know better than to reach that far over. But we're going to bring it over here so that way I can get it wiped down. Whoop. And then the air's out. And that's out of the way. Now, the twist for these, I will show you here in just a moment. I'm actually going to bring you over a little closer so you can actually see what I'm doing. Get you angled down here just right. And like I said, I will show you the soaps so that way you can actually see them. As you can see, this one, it's a nice half. This one here is a nice half and half. But what we're going to do is we're going to blend them. And there's the first one done. Blended through. So now, instead of what you saw before, this is what you'll see now. Now the next batch isn't as pretty on the top, but we have some really nice little covers. So now that we've got the soap in the molds, we've got it swirled, I'll put a lid on it, and it'll actually go over on the rack here just very shortly. So we're going to grab the other lid, set this one aside, and we'll bring this one over. Now, as you can see, this one's not as pretty, but we're going to start here. I'm going to go that way. And that blend is done. So the next time the next part of this video will actually be tomorrow when we cut these and reveal what they look like. I hope you enjoyed this video so far, and we'll see you here in 24 hours. Hi everybody. Okay, we are back, and we are going to cut our honey and activated charcoal soap. It's been 24 hours, so it has had time to cure. I'm going to bring it over here to the sink and get it rolled out of the molds. Definitely have some pretty color in it. So now we're going to set it down here, and I use a wire cutter for all of my soaps. I actually like it better. And there we go. A nice half and half soap of honey and activated charcoal. So I will be adding this to the Etsy site with notes on it that it is not available yet, but will be soon. And then everybody will be able to keep an eye on that for when it's available. Now the actual availability date, and I will have to look at that, it will be January 24th is when this will be available. It will actually be available January 24th, along with another soap that we're going to cut here just shortly. But I'll go ahead and give you a sneak onto what that one actually is. That is a honeysuckle soap. And we will be cutting it shortly, and we will be making some more soaps either later on tonight, because I've been busy out in the barns today. I will be doing some barn videos this evening, or tomorrow, due to the fact that time constraints. Sometimes you just can't help it. And as usual, we are going to have a little spare piece here on the end. So that little spare piece will actually get cut in half as best as we can, so that we can use it as a sample soap
that we're going to start adding into our packaging to send out. We will be sending little sample bars on some of our soaps. So there's the first bar cut. And let's see how the second one turned out. The one that had a little more swirl on the top because of the cardboard. And I'm seeing some beautiful swirl on the bottom. And the top doesn't look real great, but it is, I have a feeling it's going to be a really pretty soap. So we'll know here in just a second. Yep, again, a nice, beautiful soap. So we're going to get these all cut and laid out and then clean this up so that way we can get the next one started cutting, which will be the honeysuckle. And once it's done, we'll be getting ready to start some more scents. We will be doing this week. I will go ahead and let you guys in on it. We will be doing rose, patchouli, and jasmine. Will be 3 of the other soaps that we're going to do this week. So we will have those available towards the end of January. Please don't forget that we do have our Etsy site up and running for you, or if you want to send me a message through through the Facebook group, you know, I could work with you there on soaps for special orders. Other than that, guys, I hope to see you guys in the next video, and I hope everyone has a very blessed and wonderful day and the rest of your week. We will see you later in our next video.